Barcelona, Spain. The first 50% of this decade wasn't an easy one for Volvo. The Swedish automaker managed an ownership transition from Ford to China's Geely, weathering a product or service pipeline that dried out for several years following a 2010 launch in the second-generation S60 sedan and V60 wagon. That car, together with the first-generation XC60, which remained a substantial seller despite its advancing age, kept Volvo's US business quietly humming prior to the next generation of vehicles in line with the new scalable product architecture arrived. First to came was the second-generation XC90 SUV, which we named our 2016 All-Stars. Second was the S90 sedan, which snagged the 2017 All-Stars trophy in conjunction with our 2017 design in the year one. And now comes the next act, the 2018 Volvo XC60. Despite sharing precisely the same basic platform and variety of powertrains, available technologies, and basic styling cues, the XC60 cuts a substantially different silhouette compared to the larger XC90. A notable difference could be the XC60's faster A-pillar, which allowed Thomas Ingenlath in his awesome crack design Carter to visually lengthen small SUV's physically shorter hood by offering it a tapered look. The greenhouse is among the most only thing reminiscent on the outgoing XC60, its chrome-outlined shape rising having a delicate kink on top of the rear fender and terminating in a very stylish teardrop in the D-pillar. The tall taillights also remain, however, are spiffed with LEDs and also a sharp inward extension that stretches throughout the tailgate and involves a rest around the hexagonal license plate surround. Overall, it's an easy, tasteful design that any of us expect will age gracefully. Only the Jaguar F-Pace will be as handsome looking. Engine options, no surprise, because the T5, T6, and T8 variants mimic whatever we already know and love through the XC90. Base duty would go to the T5 as well as its turbocharged 2.0-litre four-cylinder, best for 250 horsepower and 258 pounds-feet of torque, essentially on par with what other usual suspects, save Jaguar as well as its Ingenium diesel, serve up. The T6 is next, with 316 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet by reviewing the supercharged and turbocharged four-cylinder engine. The same engine combines which has a pair of electric motors plus a lithium-ion battery from the T8 to generate a total of 400 horsepower and 472 pounds-feet of torque. All versions is going to be all-wheel drive, although a front-wheel drive T5 are going to be added afterwards. Physically, the 2018 XC60 4.3 inches wider and 3.6 inches more than its predecessor. Its fashionable hull 4.3 inches wider than before and easily a half-inch narrower compared to XC90. Despite these gains, the XC60 essentially weighs a similar. As we meander through Catalonia cheekbone-deep and cushioned leather and silver-white Scandinavian wood, semi-autonomous pilot assist at the forefront forward confidently enough for people to admire the rows of wine and olive fields inside the craggy shadow in the Montserrat Mountains, the XC60 proves a spacious and cozy place to be. Because the new XC60's engine bay only should fit a transverse-mounted four-cylinder, engineers had the ability to push the dashboard forward and increase passenger volume, helping create an empty and airy environment, especially within the back seat. Despite the extra size, cargo capacity actually shrinks by about 4 cubic feet. The XC60 T6 we sampled in Catalonia might get out of our way with surprising eagerness, however it was the crossover's overhauled chassis that stole the show within the sweeping highways, tight roundabouts, and cyclist-filled twisting mountain lanes away from Barcelona. Just as Volvo chassis engineer and head of dynamics Per Olaf Yuxin promised, the XC60 is decidedly more agile compared to the XC90 and exhibits none in the outgoing XC60's unwanted body roll. The biggest contributor here will be the upgraded suspension, which uses front struts rather than control arms up front and also a new aluminum composite transverse leaf spring as opposed to coil springs in the rear as standard. Smoothing things out further still on our tester was the optional air suspension, that is fitted for $1,800. On ultra-smooth freeways, The suspension is calm and floaty, offering sense of control and fluidity during high-speed lane changes. The electric power steering, driver selectable and also variable dependent upon speed, assumes on somewhat unnatural heft off-center, nothing terribly upsetting for one's average commute, but somewhat lackluster in the event the road turns twisty. Generous front-end grip and also a totally unflappable stability help it become downright an easy task to hustle the XC60 through corners. Even so, the very quick steering is a bit too fidgety and high-strung to truly beg for hard driving looking for pleasure, and can use an even more progress build-up mainly because it turns toward full lock. The BMW X3, Jaguar F-Pace S, and, most notably, the Mercedes-AMG GLC 43 are definitely more willing playmates. On the plus side, the Swede's powertrain is punchy despite just a little roughness under heavy provocation, along with the 8-speed automatic as always from the correct gear. Our inscription trim tester came rich in tech at the same time delicate Scandinavian-inspired details that could do gun rasp unproud. Straight silver driftwood inlays supply coolness for the interior, flowing through the dashboard from the gentle curves of aluminum brightwork. Even should the outright sumptuousness on the XC90 inscription isn't quite there, the result is fully preserved. All in the major upgrades from your XC90 can be obtained, such as the Bowers & Wilkins head unit, $3,200, and luxury seat package with Napa leather-lined heated and cooled seats with massage and also a heated controls, $3,000. Our tester also had the advanced package with LED lighting, a 360-degree camera, and head-up display, $1,900, vision package with blind spot detection, rear cross-traffic alert, and park assist, $1,100, and convenience package with adaptive cruise control, keyless entry, and heated wiper blades that distribute cleaning fluid through the arm directly to your blade, as opposed to spraying about the windshield and blurring the vista, $3,000. The take rate with the XC90 inscription has exceeded Volvo's anticipated 40% mark that this company has brought to reevaluate allocates production to meet up with customer demand. XC60 customers, however, really are a different breed comprised mainly of young families or empty nesters as an alternative to established families from the thick of hockey practice and movie theater runs, so it's not clear in the event the inscription have a similar popularity. Nevertheless, this amazing display of Scandinavian elegance that you will find the XC60's biggest feature compared using the sober Audi Q5 or even the more exuberant Mercedes-Benz GLC. Whether the bed space momentum is more inside the budget, or even the sporty R design is actually fly permit slip, there's a superb case for every trim and enough packages to spec out of the XC60 as desired. Even non-inscription models offer key features just like the vertical 8.9-inch Sensus touchscreen, that has been mildly updated with larger text in key areas and several simplified interfaces in line with customer feedback. Another clever feature are definitely the slots beneath the rear seats for stowing tablets, so that they don't become flying projectiles inside a crash. Speaking of safety, every 2018 XC60 comes standard, which has a long list of features like lane keep assist, automatic braking after a car accident, run-off-road mitigation, seats created to reduce the danger of spinal injury from the event of running off the road in a ditch, and collision avoidance with object detection. This last one we found themselves testing totally by chance, after a little glare and dappled shade distracted us on the scooter rider who popped outside of his parking spot. The system not just automatically engaged the brakes a half-second before our foot hit the pedal, even so the alert system has not been the least bit jarring considering its effectiveness. Kudos, Volvo. New for the 2018 XC60 is oncoming lane mitigation, that may steer you out in the way of oncoming traffic should you veer from your lane, along with a feature which will steer you totally free of a vehicle coming up on the rear within the lane over, when you drift toward it. Standard about the 2018 Volvo XC60 is pilot assist, allowing the car for taking control of accelerating, braking, also to a certain degree, steering. Volvo is very keen to indicate that this is undoubtedly an assist system, not an autonomous one, as well as the car will alert you to adopt control should you lay off the tire for several seconds. Overall, It functions just as well since the similar optional system within the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. To put it differently, it can help reduce the strain and stress of commuting or long road trips in lieu of working as a substitute for a flesh and blood human. Anyone who's attended Sweden knows about the extra long summer days and depressingly dark winters. Even so, the XC60 is really a sign Volvo is entering the season in the former. A worthy follow-up to your almost unanimously loved XC90 and trendy S90, the XC60 is really a compelling alternative using the technology, luxury, and class and keep everyone else for their heels. Priced right where it left off, at $42,495 to start for that XC60 T5, the T6 start at $45,895. It'll compete right from the heart from the market. Sufficient reason for more standard fare than almost all of its segment rivals. 16,600 folks have already raised their hands with an XC60, which can be right in line with where early demand with the XC90 hovered on its respective timeline. With a new S60 sedan and V60 wagon soon to follow along with, Volvo's patience, even during its darkest days earlier this decade, is looking to pay off and signed a big way. 2018 Volvo XC60 T6 specifications on sale August 2017, price $45,895, engine 2.0 liters stock turbocharged and supercharged 16-valve i4 316 horsepower at 5,700 revolutions per minute, 295 pounds-to-feet at 2,200 to 5,400 revolutions per minute, transmission 8-speed automatic layout, 4-door, 5-passenger. Front engine, AWD SUV EPA mileage TBD LXWXH 184.6 by 78.7 by 65.366.9 in wheelbase, 112.8 in weight, 4,045 pounds, 0 to 60 miles per hour 5.4 seconds, T6 top speed N.A.